Coach, how do you feel about 9 straight games right now, and how does that affect how you practice?
It doesn't. We're just ready for one. You're gonna play them all no matter what. Whether it's a more kind of natural break in the middle. We've all been a part of these stretches before, so there's positives and negatives both ways. I think the bottom line is you got to handle it well. Like wherever the bye week falls, however many games you have in a row. You can make the argument about rest on a bye week. You can make the argument about keeping rhythm and not having to break that on a bye week. I mean, it all matters. I don't know that it all matters at the end. Like you have to handle it. We're given the schedule well in advance. We know when we're going to play. We know when the breaks are, and it's up to us to have a great plan to get it done and our guys to execute it.
Lincoln, what policy exactly did the USC news group reporter violate the suspension?
Well, there was more than one. Media here has been great partners in my 2 years here. I've enjoyed working with the media thoroughly. I don't feel like we have, too many rules, too many policies, but the ones that we do have, we take them serious because my first job is not to, even though it is part of my job, it's not to the media, it's not to the fans, it's not to anybody else, it's to protecting our players. And that is first and foremost, that will always be priority number one. And so, there was enough there. I know the article in question was not accurate. There were multiple policies broken, and felt like that. Felt like it was far enough that we needed to act. But we'll look forward to welcoming back the reporter in question once that time's up.
Which specific policies?
Like I said, there were multiple that were broken, but I'm not going to get into specifics.
You wanted to clean up the penalties over the last couple of weeks. How's that gone, and what's kind of gone into that?
Yeah, we made a big emphasis in the team meeting last week after the game, just a big emphasis point on it. Just really, we tried to show the guys not only, the ones, from our first 3 games, but also examples across the country, not just this year, but historically, in major games where penalties have played a huge role, and a lot of times have been deciding factors. And, you don't want to put yourself in that mode where, like, okay, we're way up in a game and it's no big deal, because it's a behavior, it's something that matters, and all of a sudden when that comes up in a later game, and it may be a tie game in the fourth quarter, that thing could be the difference. And so I think making a point of that, and like anything, doing a great job of coaching it and putting our guys in those situations and making sure that we get it correct.
With this being the first road game, how do you evaluate where your offensive line is at?
Well, I think we've progressed through the first 3 weeks. I think we're starting to maybe settle in a little bit on a lineup, and I think the continuity showed up from the first couple of games. Here in the third game, we played better here this last game, and you're banking on that, right? You have a few returners, but you got a lot of new faces in that room, and a lot of guys that have not played together yet, and so you're banking on those reps adding up over time and the group starting to gel. So getting on the road, you get tested. You're going to get tested with the road atmosphere. You're going to get tested against a good defense. I mean, there's going to be plenty of tests. Like we understand that, and this will be a big step for those guys. And typically, good road football starts with playing really good on the lines of scrimmage, and we'll need to do it on both.
What goes into prepping maybe the younger guys who've never gone on the road before?
There's a lot to it. I mean, I think you do some of it as coaches. Explaining to them the different challenges. I think the big deal is to not be surprised by anything, to understand that it's still football, but it is going to feel different than playing at home, and the challenges are going to be different. So we've got to show them, and we've got to be able to walk them through that and prepare them. I think that also falls a lot on your leadership of your team and your guys to be able to maybe share some of their experiences and kind of give them a feel for what it's like and the things that are important to playing road football. And then they've got to be open to understand and learning, right? They got to understand this isn't high school. This isn't, if you came from, potentially maybe a smaller college, some of these big road atmospheres are a little bit different animal. They're a lot of fun, but you got to be really fun.
Get another game with a new staff. Just what stands out schematically about Arizona State?
Well, there's staffs that we got a little bit of familiarity with. I mean, obviously the head coach, a lot of the offensive stuff, and then certainly the defensive coaches all came from this league. And then, there's a reason why you get a head coaching job at Arizona State, or you get a coordinator job at Arizona State. Means you were doing a pretty damn good job, and all of those guys were. So, no, it's a good staff. It's these guys are good coaches. Like you can see the things that they're doing, and they're they're the world will look at it and think one thing. They're not as far away as people think they are, and sometimes that's just, we've all been there, man. In the beginning of a program, sometimes it can kind of feel that way. And but these are good coaches. It's nice to have some familiarity, but you also know you're going up against people that are really good too. So there's a challenge there.
It looks like they might be on their 4th string quarterback this week. As a play caller, what do you do when you're that far down? How do you tailor the game plan to make it manageable?
Yeah, I hope I don't find it out. It's not an easy thing, and not because you don't have other talented, capable guys in the room. But I mean, probably the last time you repped our 3rd or 4th quarterback might have been fall camp, and so everybody's structured there a little differently. But the challenge is obviously getting it done in a short amount of time. Now, having some time to prepare like a group does this week, and knowing that it's going to happen and being prepared for it's one thing. It happening in a game where all of a sudden, like the other night, you lose a couple of guys just like that. That's going to be hard on anybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care who the coaches are. I don't care who the players are. So we're sure we'll see a pretty prepared group that'll be ready for it. And Kenny and those guys are good coaches, so I'm sure we'll see a good plan and give them a week. They're going to throw some stuff at you that's going to challenge you.
Thank you, Coach Riley.
All right, yeah, thanks, everybody.